What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa, and as always, I've got my Justine back here, right here with me. And yes, we are finally back together after those two awesome solo episodes, but we are back at it together, both of us. If this is your first time here, we are a podcast that showcases the importance of music and mental health. We share our own stories as well as invite guests to share their stories of how music has made an impact in their lives. As always, if you're liking what you're hearing, remember to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. You know, you can do that anywhere you're currently listening to this right now. And it just would really mean a lot to Justine and I, and any star rating you think is great as well. We're not going to pressure you for that 5-star over here, but give us whatever you think. I mean, hearing that it helps pump us into those algorithms, whether it's Apple or Spotify, I don't know. But if you're up for it, go right ahead. We also have a website at www.stereotherapypod.com. You can check out our blogs there. You can listen to the podcast there, and all that cool stuff over there. And today, Justine and I, since we are back together, we are having a special episode talking about how nostalgia can sometimes keep you from checking out those artists, like their later work past their, whether it's a big break album or that album that got the most love, and kind of like some of those artists for us. But before we get into this, because it has been a minute for Justine and I to be together, talking together, let's just check in and see, like, Justine, how are you doing? Because it has been such a minute for us.
I know. I've been getting over some real nasty sickness. I
Ugh.
had like sinus troubles for about a week, and then I ended up getting like this absolutely awful stomach bug, and I'm just finally getting over that, and it's been rough. And also, I I found out my therapist is leaving and moving, so I
No.
had my last therapy session this past week. Um, yeah, so other than that, I'm fine.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that has to be I mean, we've been through that a little bit with like G and everything, and
Yeah,
but for different reasons. But oh, that's I hope.
I know. It
Uh
sucks and it's super heartbreaking because she's amazing and I'm gonna miss her, but it's okay.
yeah. Oh, I know. Like that's a thing too. That's also why, like, if everybody's listening to this, why we had some solo. Like originally, Justine had her solo because I just wanted to give Justine her moment to do one and have that, and for you guys to listen to her because I love Justine. But then she got the stomach bug, so I was like, okay, I don't want to force her to do that either. Like, so let me do one. Now I have to say, it's looking like as of right now, everybody is loving Justine's as they should, and I am happy that you are having your
Which
moment.
I'm shocked, honestly. So thank you for everybody listening to it. I appreciate it.
People are like, "That's it, Lisa. Why'd you like?" Especially if you listen to mine, my voice cracked in the beginning of mine, and honestly, I was like, "I cannot fix this." So, yeah, listening to that back is just like, "Oh my god, this is why it's great when we're together."
Well, I
Um,
mean, at least, like you weren't super hoarse. I was
yeah,
incredibly hoarse and raspy throughout my solo, which if anybody loves the show Friends, like I kept thinking of the episode of Phoebe when she got the cold and she thought it made her sing better. And she's like, "I'm so sexy." that's that's how I felt like my solo kind of
no,
went.
it was good. It was good. But it is. It's like so good that we're back at it. And like I know I've been, whether it was just so stressed. Like I even said that in my solo. Like I've just been so
Yeah.
stressed, a lot of life things going on, but good things to come, and a situation that'll let me spend even more time on the podcast and like learning things and doing that, which is really cool. But just like it's such a crazy time. But at least, like I said, we're back at it. So I'm glad. So it's been a rough couple weeks, but everybody got to enjoy some solo episodes out of it. So we will take that. But I have to give a shout out to G. Well, obviously my fiance, if you're just joining us and never heard that, for giving us this idea because we, as always, we're trying to think of topics that aren't out there because there's a lot of music podcasts, which is amazing. But I just feel like as a listener, you want something new. So I'm really thankful for him for this because he keeps telling me that I constantly bring up this topic up when we're like sitting on the couch. And I guess if anyone ever wanted to a snippet into my home life, that's it. Um, I'll sit on the couch and just talk about random things. And sometimes like G cares, but sometimes he's just like, all right, go talk to
No,
Justine or like
that's literally exactly what happens on our couch too. I'll be going off about just like literally everything, and then I can tell that it's not going into his
yes.
brain when I'm talking to him about it, and I'm like, "Did you hear me?" He's like, "No, not a single
Yeah.
word."
Oh God.
Like, we go through that too, where he's just like, "You want to talk to Lisa for a little while?"
Look at
He's
that.
cool. You talk to
It,
Lisa a little bit.
it's so like it is. And we'll talk and it's the same thing. And it's
Yeah,
just like, you know what? He was like, it's kind of like talking about bands that sort of fade away after that big album, or that band continues to just get like better at, and people miss out. And whether it was
yeah.
like the nostalgia of like, oh my God, this record or whatever it is, but like, I'm gonna say like an artist I'm gonna just throw out there and just talk about is gonna be Jimmy Eat World because this is a band I've gone to great lengths about in terms of like, yes, we know Clarity, we know Bleed American. And I'm not saying these aren't good albums before anyone like says anything, because obviously they're incredible records and they were my introduction to Jimmy Eat World. But I have to think some people were either all about those or just fell off of them for whatever reason. And I know they had this massive tour with Manchester Orchestra going on, and I mean, I couldn't get tickets or it wasn't coming near me, whatever it was, but, and they're really excited about both bands, which is amazing to see, but I just know so many around me that I think just truly fell off in terms of Jimmy Eat World and just how much more incredible they got with, like, each release, and I know I'm one of those that think the album Futures is just even so higher up on some like tier list if people were making it, but like, whether it's Clarity or Bleed American, just Futures for me was that album that like made me fall in love with Jimmy Eat World. And again, I want to say this one came out in the fall, so like I'm not even gonna lie, I have a note here, but no, it definitely did. So this album came out in October. So again, it makes sense because I'm that fall record. Oh God, I can't talk to that record. Fall record. I'm just gonna leave that in there. I don't even care.
No,
Fall,
yeah.
fall make it real, guys. So anyways, bring it back, Lisa. It's okay. Fall record with songs like 23, Polaris, Kill, and Work. And again, I can go on. I'm just like laughing about what I just did about this record. Um, and they only just kept getting better. And I mean, again, then we had like Chase This Light, and which again, I think some either just fell off or wanted that old school Jimmy World sound. But I guess for this, like again, it had Let It Happen, Always Be, Carry You, Here It Goes, and one of my all-time favorite Jimmy World songs, which is Dizzy. And I remember like early on in my relationship with G, I'm like, G, you have to listen to the song. And I know it's slower. I know it's not the Jimmy Eat World that you know. It is my all-time favorite song. And I want you to listen to this. And he did. And again, like he thought, oh, okay, this is good. But like he definitely didn't react the way I did, or like, I don't know, other people did to it. But I love it, and it's like, I guess, let me know if anyone else, like, agrees that that song is one of the best they've ever done. Like, I don't know, you know, let me know, guys, and help me out here, and they came and then again, like, Invented was another record, and we had that signature Jimmy Eat World song, but just really to me, like, later on in their career, they became the sound that they took on with these records is what the sound I feel they were trying to always have, and it just makes sense. And I think we have their latest works right now where they put, where it's something loud, or their singles coming out where it's like it it's still there them, but it's definitely I don't want to say mature because I always felt like they were mature, like out of all those, I guess, quote, like emo bands or whatever. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like also people thought Jimmy Eat World became like that parents band or like mom and dad, like dad rock. But like, hello, like I'm 37. We're in our 30s and I'm that age to be a mom or dad. And so if your kids and you're taking your kids to see Jimmy Eat World or you're having a parents night out to see Jimmy Eat World, yeah, you're doing it right. But and I joke all the time, like, I'm not gonna be that Coco Melon parent. I'm
No,
gonna be
absolutely
that
not.
I'm gonna be that we're going to a show parent or watching whatever YouTube of like whatever, maybe Jimmy Eat World. I don't know. But that's gonna be me. And again, like I think even if you loved Clarity, there's like an amazing Phoenix sessions uh that they did. And go listen to that because like that just furthers like how amazing that record was. And although I'm talking about their later works, like obviously duh, like please, if for whatever reason you've never heard of Clarity or Bleed American, go listen to that because uh just incredible. And again, one of my favorites from Jimmy World is oddly enough, like it's not one of their bigger records. It's actually an EP that is the Stay on My Side. And I mean, they have a song called Over that is like still on repeat from like 2005 that I feel people knew about it, but not enough people around me knew about it. And it's just I guess I just urge you if you are someone that sort of fell off of Jimmy World, which one that is perfectly okay. Like when we talk about these bands, like that is so fine. Like I do that with artists too. And one of those for me, I'll touch on later. Like there's a bunch of them that I have, but I mean, I guess just go back and listen and see because I just think Jimmy Eat World is one of those most perfect bands. Uh, and I just think if you could explore their discography a little bit, and they're such an important band in my life. And I just think of like, there's so many situations, whether it was in college or art school, wanting to pursue music business, or like just anything in my life, the passing of someone, just a first date, a great night in the city or whatever. Like Jimmy Eat World has always been there. And I just think there's too many people I know that just love Clarity and they love Bleed American and they kind of like shit on the other stuff. So just please, this is my TED talk of like go listen to Jimmy Eat World and their later stuff. They're just so great and I love them so much. And I mean, Justine, like what is your kind of take a little bit like on Jimmy Eat World? Like whether it is the older stuff or like newer stuff, or maybe you do not click with Jimmy Eat World.
Like, I admittedly, like, didn't really listen past, like, their breakthrough album,
Right.
which I always loved because I love, The Middle and
Oh yeah.
Sweetness, and but for me, I think what happened was that I didn't really know anybody else that liked them,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have anybody to, like, keep me going, and to
Right.
remind me, "Hey, guess who has a new album coming out?" And to, like, keep me invested in them,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think they just got away from me.
And that
It
happens. That happens so much.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad you said that, like, since we're
Yeah.
talking about it, because that's so true. Like that happens again. Like I'll talk about Coheed later. Like they're another band that like I had no one around me, like, hey, they've got this cool thing. And it's like, oh, okay, now I'm like 4 albums behind or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
where do you start?
exactly.
But that's but luckily, everyone listening, whatever bands we say, if you any of these bands are those, like go into whether it's Spotify or whatever and like dive in because I'm telling you, like I I love Jimmy Eat World. So yes. And I'm interested to see, Justine, what is yours that you're gonna bring up? What's an artist you're gonna bring up?
So, the first one I'm gonna bring up is someone I've kinda touched on a little bit in a past episode, and that's AFI.
Yes.
So, um, you either had a tendency to drop off either around, like, Sing the Sorrow or December Underground, and they have been constantly pumping out albums since then. So when I got to see them, and I got to see them play with Circus Survive around like 2017-ish or so. I was like, okay, I really need to listen to the Blood album because that was their newest. And I'm like, I'm sure they're probably gonna play mostly of that. And I was really glad I did because I loved the Blood album. And the last album I had left off with them was December Underground. I had tried to listen to the one after that. I want to say I think it was called Crash or something like that. And I couldn't get into it. And then that was it. I was just I didn't go back to them. I listened to their old stuff still because that's who I am as a person. If I loved you for like any amount of time, I'm probably still going to listen to your old stuff, even if I don't like your new stuff. And so I didn't like pursue listening to anything new because I also didn't know anybody who loved AFI.
Mm-hmm.
I was with somebody throughout that time era who did not like them at all. And I didn't have any friends that really liked them. So when I fell out, like I had nobody to be like, you need to try them again. I didn't have that. And so it wasn't until that tour that I was super excited because I was going to get to see them again. And I'm like, well, of course they're going to play some old stuff. But so I got into that album and it's so good. I love it. I still listen to the Blood album now. Um, I think it's a really good way to get back into them as well. Um, and I helped me to kind of go back to like Burials, which came out before that, was also very good, but I didn't know about it because I never went back to them. Um, and Davey's voice is still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You still get that just like sad and darkness that you always love with AFI. It's still there. They're just older and more mature, but like not in a way that they're mature that it's like you know what I mean? Like the sound is still that kind of same like Sing the Sorrow kind of sound. Not early days AFI, which I know also some people have beef with, but like which that's gonna be a whole different episode. But
Yeah.
like um, you know, I highly suggest trying to go back because I really resonated with the stuff that was in the Blood album. There is another one that came out in like 2021 that I still haven't listened to yet because it takes me a while sometimes to listen to new things. Um, but I'm sure if it's anything like the Blood album and like Burials, I'll probably like it. So I highly suggest if you like the Art of Drowning, the Sing the Sorrow era of AFI, to go back and try again because they are still in that kind of sound and it's still really good and they still put on an amazing show. I'm still really jealous if everybody got to see the Sing the Sorrow anniversary show that they did, because they're still out there and they're still doing great. So definitely something to check out.
No, 100%. It's so interesting you brought them up because I loved AFI. I mean, we talked about that a few episodes back. And
Yeah.
honestly, when I was telling G about this, like G's the same way. Like he loved AFI, but like even past and like he would be like, "Oh, did you hear this record?" And I was like, "No. I know like December Under, like I know that." Like and he's like,
Yeah.
how do you not like you being you? I was like, I'm exactly. And that's why I think it's interesting us talking about this, like where you kind of said the same thing with Jimmy Eat World, but like I'm
Yeah.
the same way of AFI right now. And it's like,
Yeah.
I saw AFI, like I talked about, like I made my boyfriend at the time stay at Riot Fest later just to see them in all their glory because I love AFI and just such a magical band. So like I agree. Like now I think I have to go back and listen because
I definitely
admittedly
think you should.
I haven't for years. Like I'm
Yeah.
not talking
And I think because like I kind of had the same situation, right? Like if I did listen to them, it was like it was still Sing the Sorrow or
right.
like
Same.
The Art of Drowning.
Right.
And so when that tour happened, it was like, okay, I'm gonna finally see them live, like again, since like, oh my gosh, when did I see them? Like like 2003
Oh
ish,
my
I think is when I
God.
saw them.
Yeah.
So
That's
I was like, I need to be well prepped and well
Yeah,
versed.
same.
And it was really funny because they didn't even do most of the Blood album. It was
Mhm.
mostly old stuff. And they did a few of the songs from the Blood album, but I was like surprised, but like it was so good. And it was like, wow, I really wish I would have tried them,
Mhm.
sooner than, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah,
I'm still back on board. I always said I was AFI fan, even though I didn't listen to like the newer stuff. But like,
right.
100%. If you want some nostalgia, but also want it like matured in a way that like it's the same sound, but it's just, they're a little older but it still has that depth that it had from those eras. You need to try it because it's still amazing and beautiful. Davey's voice is still amazing. The sounds are wonderful still. Like I said, the lyrics are still hitting in a way that if you're a sad girl like me, they still hit. So it's definitely one to try and go back and check it out a little bit because I kind of feel like what happened was with that initial success from like December Underground, I wonder if they wanted to try something a little different with that one after and it just didn't hit right and they went back to like that darker side again
Mhm.
because I think that's might have been what happened and that was when I left was after that one because I it just didn't feel right for me. And then it seems like they shifted back to the darkness. So, you know,
Uh,
it's definitely something to check out if you're not fluent with their newer stuff. It's still good.
I'm gonna have to because I always loved and respected but now I feel like, yeah, I have to go back. And it's like so interesting too, like if you don't resonate with something, because that's kind of about who I'm gonna talk about next. And I'm just interested. I have to see if there's anybody else like me, or maybe even if you're like me, but um the artist I have to talk about, and I have gushed, and I have seen this band with my fiance that is from New Jersey, and this band is from New Jersey. And when we saw them, I liked all their later stuff and was singing it, and no one else we were with knew what the hell any album this was on. But I'm gonna talk about Saves the Day. And I love Save the Day. And while I want to sit here and I want to say, through being cool, can't slow down, like all the cool kids want to say was their first introduction, or even stay what you are is. Um, but no, I'm gonna be lying to you, and I would never do that. I'm not gonna sit here and say
Yeah,
that.
we don't lie here. We tell the
I,
truth.
I think everyone knows me by now that I would not. But while I love those records, I'm not saying they're bad. They are very important to this music, that scene, the era, East Coast scene, everything. I fell in love with In Reverie. And I know so many have hated this damn record. And I guess I don't want to say hate, but maybe just really disliked it a lot. But this record made me fall in love with their music, and this record was the one to, like, make me turn my head and be like, "Okay, Save the Day, I see you." And everyone else around me was just like, "What?" And I need to know, is there anyone else out there? Like, Justine, did you like In Reverie when you heard it?
I can't remember. I know it's terrible.
'Cause, like, I had to go back and
I
look. It was
might have because it's
2003.
still and it's still within the time frame of like when I really loved them. So I'm sure I did.
So see, maybe you did because like so many people were like, "What?" But it's just, I think now too, a lot of people have come out and said like, "Wow, like now that I'm older, yeah, we got it wrong, guys," because it really wasn't that bad. But I don't know, but I mean, from Anywhere with You, Driving in the Dark, Tomorrow Too Late, which is my all-time favorite Saves the Day song, and I know like if you poll anyone else, it's not probably anything off this record. But for me, it was. And I just feel like, I loved that I got to meet Saves the Day at some like Halloween show I saw them at. And I got to tell them like this was such an underappreciated record. And I could tell they didn't hear that a lot, which was really awful to hear, like how Chris Conley responded to me. It was just like, oh, thank you so much. Like it was just like, I don't know, like, I mean, it was years later after it, but I could just tell he was just like, "Oh, okay, someone
It's
liked
something
it."
that he probably isn't used to hearing.
No, and I could tell, and that just was like, "Oh my god, that really hurt me," but, like,
But at the
I
same time, it probably made you feel good that you were able to mention that
yes,
to him.
it did because I was just like and he signed my phone. He signed my little phone I had because I was like, I didn't have anything for him to sign. I was like, I gotta this moment, but, and again, like, it just I loved it, and I mean, I had Sound the Alarm, which again, that record was my I wanna say that's my favorite record that they've ever done, but again and I know I'm going against the grain there too, but I guess stick with me because I'm gonna tell
Mm.
you, if you don't know, Sound the Alarm was the start of the 3-album trilogy to come, and that this one had just so much angst and, like, oomph to it that just really just I don't know, like, what to describe it, but I loved it. It was like From Head to the Hills, Shattered, Dying Day, 34, Diseased, Bones. Like, every single track on this record, I loved, and people would kinda look at me like, "What? Okay, yeah, right." Like, no, but their older stuff's better, and it was just like, "Oh, this is so good," and you either liked it or you didn't, but cool, but again, there's something about this record, and I later learned that how this record was that start of that 3-album trilogy. So it was this one, Under the Boards, and then Daybreak. And to get the gist of this amazing trilogy, you have to listen in that order. And like I'm such a I don't want to say weirdo, but like I love shit like that and concepts like that where like I have to listen you know, to something together to get it, and, like, I would sit there and listen to this whole 3-album trilogy, like, so many times when I found that out, and, like, it was just the experience, but it was one of those things too, and, a lot of people say that again, like, about Coheed, which I mentioned earlier, because they say that I would really like Coheed and Cambria because they have the amazing story in each record, and it goes through that, and I'm like, "Maybe I will give it a chance because I need to dive back into that band." That's another band that I fell apart, but okay, we're just gonna get back to Saves the Day. But again, any Coheed fan, get at me because I'm interested in that. But I mean, this trilogy was inspired by Chris Conley's own story. So Sound the Alarm was the angry, destructive side, which you absolutely hear. Then you had Under the Boards, which was what Chris Conley reached a complete like collapse, he had said in an interview, and before his start to kind of come back around. And then Daybreak kind of shows that happier place he found. And you totally hear that when you listen to this record, like, or this trilogy. And it's really cool to just listen to. But if you didn't like any of those albums separately, go listen to them in that order because you may like them a little more, maybe appreciate them a little more, or see what was going on there. And I mean, Under the Boards is such an incredible record. And I loved realizing this trilogy and just listening to it and giving that overall story. And it's just to see that come around for Chris. Because it was really sad that one of the main reasons Chris Conley fell into that depression was over In Reverie and the rejection of In Reverie. And it was just so hated. And I think there was such a time when like the keyboard warriors would like just get on and hate everything on like a not chat room, but like a forum or whatever
Well,
that
I mean, it could have been a chat room.
right? Maybe,
It could
right?
have been
Whatever
a
the
chat
hell it
room.
was,
It was back in the day.
right? And say anything for a click,
Message
which
boards.
like, I guess everybody, like, still says stuff for a click like, clickbait these days, but it's, like, still, like, I can only
Yeah.
imagine back
The
then, like
trolls are still pretty rampant, but oh yeah.
yeah, and that's, like, I can only imagine, I mean, I just if you haven't listened to From Under the Boards, like, my favorite record, like, the songs off there, whether it was, like, Get Fucked Up, Can't Say the Same, Bye Bye Baby, Kaleidoscope, Daybreak, like, oh, it's just so good, and I just urge you to listen to these 3 records, and again, maybe I'm just different, and I will go back to those older albums, and I still like, I love Through Being Cool and Say What You Are, 100%, like, that's how I kinda bonded with G, like, because he was a huge Saves the Day fan, um, you know, not to get all, like, warm and fuzzy, but, like, a song for us was, like, Nightingale, so, like, I love old Saves the Day, but, like, it just I hope there's so many people I talk to with this band that they didn't give some of these older records a chance, and I'm just like, "It's just so, so, so good," and I adored just the writing process of this trilogy. And I think if you don't like Sound the Alarm, just I don't know, maybe you weren't angsty or maybe you weren't angry. Like I was a really I don't I think it was 2006. Like I was just a like an angsty, I don't want to say emo kid, but I was one of those people that I gravitated towards that. So like it spoke to me. But I hear so many Save the Days fans where, especially like I said, we saw them in Jersey and people were like standing still when they were playing like stuff off Sound the Alarm or Under the Boards. I'm like, dude, like this shit is good. Like this is so good. Um, but again, like everybody is different. But again, this is just, I don't know if we're just trapped in that nostalgia of the old stuff. Give this a chance because Save the Day is like such an important band in my life. And I gotta know, Justine, where do you stand on Saves the Day? Or like, were you a fan? Or because I don't know. I don't think we've ever really talked about Saves the Day.
We really haven't ever talked about
No.
them. And I love them.
Oh
I've
my
always
God. Well,
loved
there we
them.
go.
And like for me, and it's really funny that like we talked about not a lot of people not liking the older ones. My three go-tos, of course, is Stay What You Are, because
Yeah.
Sound the Alarm and Daybreak. Those are my three go-tos. Um,
Ah,
and then like after Daybreak, again, it was just like that scenario of like it's not that I didn't like them anymore. I think I
right.
was just preoccupied with like other albums that I just
Hmm.
didn't go back to anything beyond that. Um, and again, I don't think I had anybody to remind me to be like, "Hey, listen to this album. Like, it's
Right.
really good." Because again, they were another one of those bands where it was like I didn't have a lot of friends that liked them. It was just
Same.
it's like me, you know. Um, and like I definitely need to go back and just listen in general because like they're one of those I haven't listened to forever. So when I knew you were gonna talk about it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's been so long. Like I have not
Mhm.
listened to them in such a long time, but I always really loved them. Like, oh my gosh. Like just yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Like,
there's
yeah.
so I like again, like anyone listening to this, and if you didn't like, because I don't know anyone else that like Sound the Alarm. So like listen to this. I'm telling you.
No,
If you take
100%.
anything from this, go listen to that. If you think, oh, they're just a
But
whiny
again, like
band. No.
but then again, yeah, like I was definitely a rageful kid. So like that could
Yeah,
be why
right,
I
right.
like them
Like I
so
said,
much.
like I see it
So
now.
yeah. Yeah, I
But
was gonna say, so it kind of makes sense, I think, for me to like Sound Alarm, but yeah, no, definitely. I think people definitely need to go back and take a listen. But yeah, I was kind of like the same way when it came to like I personally, and it's like it's just no shit on anybody that
yeah,
loves the album, but like I didn't really get into through being cool.
me either. Me
I just
either. Full
wasn't
disclosure, me either.
like it's no beef against it. It's
Right.
just I didn't get into it,
No.
and it just wasn't for me. So like, Stay What You Are was what made me like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I do like them. But
Yeah. D-
yeah,
Do you know what it is too? It's weird because I felt like I don't know. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. That's not what this podcast is about. Or like I don't know, just like dogging on anyone. But I think a lot of people, I'm trying to like catch myself, like, how do I word this? But like, how do you like a lot of people I know almost to get that like street cred or
to
like
seem cooler.
to seem
Well,
cooler.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when you
honestly, probably.
like to say,
I'm
and again, I'm sure there's a lot
yeah,
that love that again, great record and foundation for so many other bands in the
yeah,
scene. 100% love it. You put it on, and I will still like have the windows down, excited,
yeah.
everything and all
Like I'll still
between.
listen to it, but it's just not my album. You know
No,
what I
like
mean? Like
I think the
I
older shit's better.
and it could just be me too, like being the PDA autistic type that I am, where it's like, well, everybody likes through being cool. So that's not gonna be my favorite. My brain's just like, no.
Right,
You
exactly.
like something that other people don't like. You don't like that one.
Right. Right. And again, if you're somehow never hearing Saves the Day and maybe you're just getting into this music, um, very important band. So I know so many people and I want to hear like whether it's Jimmy Brill, if I Saves the Day, and then whatever band Justine's going to talk about next. I want to hear like your thoughts on them too. So like I guess let's let's see, Justine, and again, everybody, I have no idea what Justine's gonna say.
Yeah, no, she has no idea. Like I had thrown some stuff out there, but
Yeah.
then I just decided on this one when I was writing up my script. So
Yeah,
she
let's
has no idea about this one because I don't think we've even ever really talked about this band so much.
oh,
So
so let's hear it. What is
um
it? Let's go.
well, but yeah, it took me forever to decide on who to do for my second one. AFI was like, yeah, I have to because it's like AFI absolutely fits this,
Right.
discussion.
Yeah.
And especially with the rise of like email coming back and everything and people getting back into it, I was like, that was another reason why I was struggling deciding on like what to talk about. Cause I'm like, well, a lot of people already are going back to stuff and listening to things and like stuff that we didn't get into before, but now they are because of the resurgence. But it finally hit me today, like just like smack to the head, like, duh, why didn't I think about this? I'm gonna talk about Against Me.
Oh my God. I'm so excited about this. Go ahead. People don't even know. I love Against Me. And no one else I know really. So yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I feel like you probably dropped off for one of two reasons, okay? You either just forgot to come back like I do
Mhm.
with plenty of these bands that we've already talked about today, or, and this is going to be a really mean take, or you don't like trans people.
Yeah,
And in that
yeah,
case, you
that
can just
too.
fuck off.
Oh God.
um, but if you haven't listened to anything since Laura has come out as trans, you are missing out on some amazing, amazing work.
Mhm.
And being out in trans in this country, like especially with everything going on in this country right now, that is like the most punk rock thing you could do right now, and that is making for some really good punk music. Okay. um and for her work with Against Me, like the hit, like it's hitting and it's good. Uh, since she's since she's been out, with all the work has been so amazing, it's been so pure, it's been so great, it's super relatable, like not even just for like the trans community, but just for like LGBT as a whole, as anybody who's just like outcasted, um or just it's just, oh my gosh, like you need to go, first things first, go listen to Transgender Dysphoria Blues.
Yes.
um that album is just, it is a masterpiece. Like it's
Mhm.
probably, out of all of them, which could be kind of a hot take for some, I think that's the best work they've done so far. um and like just getting into the nitty gritty of everything. And oh my gosh, like you just need to make sure you go check it out. Like I can't even put into words how important Laura Jane Grace in general is as a human being,
Mhm.
let alone the work that's coming out of her and the band since. So um again, it's, nothing is more punk rock than being transgender in this country right now. So it doesn't get better than that. If you're a punk band and you are trans, like that is a quintessential punk. So that's my spiel.
No, 100%
Yeah.
because I'm so glad you brought them up because they're a band that a lot of people I didn't know, or I didn't know a lot of people that like them. And like they are, again, I could not agree with you more about Transgender Dysphoria Blues because I saw them on a tour that they did. Oh, I don't even remember who the hell was on this tour. I'd be off with their heads. I don't know, but it was a small
Yeah.
venue in Chicago. Hearing like Two Coffins, Black Me Out
It's
with
so
Laura
good.
was singing that. And I want to say that was the first tour where, obviously Laura Jane Grace was Laura Jane
Yeah.
Grace. And I think for some people there was that, ooh, how's it gonna be? Is this gonna be the same
Yeah.
band? And I will tell you, it only made it better in my
It
opinion
made
because
it
you could tell that
100%
Laura
better.
Laura was her true self,
Yeah,
and getting to do that
100%.
and come out, and just have that
That's
and it
like for
yeah.
me, the reason why the music is so much better is because she can truly write as herself and
Mhm.
truly write completely her experience, which when you're like, when you're closeted, you're not able to quite have your experience. Like we know now that she's out, that like the ocean, what the true meaning was like with that song.
Mhm.
But like having her be completely out, being herself, she's able to write about every experience now. Um it's just it hits so much better. And if you haven't watched the AOL interview session
Yes.
that she did, by the way, I'm in
What?
it. Yeah, there is there's a couple snippets you see of live shows, and they accidentally mislabeled it as Kansas City. It was actually St. Louis, and I'm right up front on the stage with blue hair. Unfortunately, someone that is out of my life that we don't speak his name is also
No.
there, but like
Oh my god. I
I'm
gotta
there.
I gotta watch that because I do
Yeah.
I think
You can spot me pretty much immediately in the crowd. It's hilarious.
and it was just like too like I mean I immediately too I loved new wave. I saw Against Me open up for the Foo Fighters actually uh
Nice.
at Allstate Arena in Chicago, and I went with someone I'm no longer with, thank goodness,
Yeah.
because I don't even know if I told this podcast the story. I mean, G's gonna listen to this and be like, why are you telling this again? But I was there and I was with somebody, and I'm pretty sure I already told you, Justine. I don't know. We'll find out. But
You
anyways,
might have.
I
It's
was
okay.
at this venue at the show, and I was so excited because I love it Against Me. I think New Wave just came out, and obviously the Foo Fighters. I was so excited about this. And so we get there and we're like second row. Nobody has come on yet. Maybe there was
Nice.
another opener, but like Against Me was about to come on. I was so excited. And the New Wave banner came down and he looks at me and he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, okay. And they were like, are you gonna come with me? I'm like, dude, we are
Oh,
second
oh.
row for Against Me and the Foo Fighters. Like, no,
Yeah,
like
like,
just no.
absolutely not. Like,
And
do I need to hold your hand while you go?
And I decided, Lisa, stop being because like again, like I loved my shows, I love that. I said, come on, like just go to the bathroom. Maybe it'll be really quick, right? You know what I mean? Like maybe it'll be
Yeah.
really quick.
Oh,
Of
no.
course. Then so he goes to the bathroom, whatever, we're out. I'm like, good. No one has started. We could still probably get up. Everyone's shuffling in. We're on the floor, whatever. I really need a lemonade. And I remember
Oh my
looking like,
gosh,
you need a what?
no.
All right, again, I'm not gonna be rude. He paid for my ticket for this, and I was very thankful. And okay, we're gonna go. And gets a lemonade, taking a sweet time. And I'm like, dude, like anyone knows me, I would run to that front row.
Oh my
Of
gosh, I would've been
course,
freaking out the
of
whole time.
course, it starts, and we have to be in the back, not back, but enough where we were not in the front. And I
Yeah.
was so like, I was like sitting there just singing every Against Me song. Like they were
Yeah.
playing a Thrash Unreal. I mean, just everything. Like I just loved Against Me. I was just like, oh, this is so weird. I remember looking over at him and he was just like, I could tell like they were not for him. And
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
dude, no,
And you're
like,
like, "Now I know exactly why I had
yes,
to
yes,
leave." Yeah.
yes. And then years later, I make the joke too. And then, later when the Foo Fighters came on, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom again. And when, we're further
Yeah.
back. And it was just like, again, I know someone listening to this is gonna be like, wow, you're a little ridiculous over this. But like when I love a band such as Against Me,
Yeah.
or that or even Foo Fighters or any of the bands we talked about,
I feel like
you want to be
if
close.
yeah, if anybody when it comes to a show, like, if you're able to be up close, you're able-bodied, you didn't have to fight to get to that
No,
spot, like,
right.
you
Yeah.
don't it's like, "I'm not leaving
I'm
unless
not
somebody
peeing.
murders me," and
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, like, that just makes me so
Yeah.
mad for
It
you,
I
like,
was so to this
oh my
day, and
gosh.
that had to be, I wanna say 2008, I don't know, something like that, but it was
Yeah.
it was one of those things, it was just one of those times where it's like, that's where I knew, like, I have to be with someone that one understands that like
Yeah,
my love for the music and that. And again, I know
100%.
again, someone listening to this, oh, it wasn't that bad here in the back. I know, I get it. I know what it kind of sounds like, but for me, I was so in love with Against Me. I mean, I never missed
Yeah,
an Against Me show in Chicago at all. I went to every single anything I could go to, loved every ounce of what they've
yeah.
earlier, now, even Laura, I love one of her songs she has, it's called I Hate Chicago on her solo stuff, and when I listen to it, Laura Jane Grace, by the way, if you're somehow listening to this,
Yeah.
please come on. We adore
Oh
you,
my
clearly.
gosh, I
Oh,
honestly, I'd probably cry.
and
Like,
not like,
yeah.
anything she says in the song, if you've been in Chicago or driving in Chicago or just whatever, you can relate to this, and I love Chicago, but this song makes me everything, I'm like, "Yes, I feel you. I feel you. I hate this too. I hate this too." Like, it's so good. I'm gonna link it because even Laura, when I've seen, her solo stuff,
Yeah.
so fantastic, so
Oh my
important to
gosh.
music, and just like you
Such
said.
an amazing musician and just human being. Like,
Mm,
oh my gosh.
yeah.
And you just have to make sure you check her out. And again,
Yeah.
definitely check out the AOL sessions because I think
Yes,
not only is it important to have like the love for her music, but like you need to have that to coincide with it to understand the transition it took, not only just like coming out, but just everything. And like she just talks about life and what happens and oh my god, just such an inspiring person and I love and adore her so much.
and
But
I'm looking up now because I wanna say it was the Rolling Stone article was what came yes, alright, and that iconic photo of Laura sitting there in the towel.
the Talb's picture, yes.
Yes, that's what it is. It
Mhm.
was a Rolling Stone
Yes.
article, and, I think it was really important for me because I was such a or I am, I don't wanna say was because I still love Against Me, but, like, at
Yeah.
that time, I loved them so much, and I think that, again, a lot of people, even with, uh I really don't wanna butcher this, White Crosses, that album, a
Yeah.
lot of
It's White
people,
Crosses.
like, fell off on them too, like, I had a boyfriend
Yeah.
'cause I dated a lot of bad people, guys, but I had a boyfriend that,
It
like, loved
happens.
Against Me. We were in the car, and he went to throw it out the window, and I was like,
Ugh.
stopped my car, put it in park, and was like, "You ever touch my CDs again, and you're out of here." I mean, obviously, we didn't last much longer than that, but, like,
Yeah.
I vouched for that record so much to where
Yeah.
I, like, stopped my car, was like, "Do not throw this out." I love that record too, but I truly feel reading the article of Rolling Stone, watching
Mhm.
those AOL sessions, and
Yes.
hearing from Laura herself about everything and
Yeah, it's her
who we
entire journey.
knew and just
Yeah.
the entire and one of the first, like, musicians, I think, of that era to make that transition and be so
Yeah.
open and vulnerable, and I think that
Like, I
helped a
think
lot of
it was so
people.
important. I think it was so important too because I think it helped a lot of people understand better that, like,
Mhm.
even if you are a trans woman, like, you can still be the lead in a punk rock band,
Yep.
and it there is no certain look or manner to being trans,
Yeah.
and she helped, I think, a lot of people understand that better. She is so important to the trans community and like what she has done and what she continues to do. And like, I just, oh my gosh, I just think she's
Mhm.
such an important human being and everything she does is great. And I will always just bow down to her. I think she's just amazing.
Mhm. Oh, and admittedly, I'm gonna be honest, before Laura Jane Grace, I didn't really know what it meant to be transgender, what it meant
Yeah.
to transition, what it meant for so many things,
I
and I
think it
think
was for so many people, even
oh,
honestly.
have you read the book, Tranny, her book?
No, I haven't.
Oh my
I
god,
need to
I'll
now.
link it because or even an audio book it or whatever people prefer. It's another one of those things where it's like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
again, I think such an important artist for that reason because not again, I am someone that is for everybody's rights, but I admittedly just
Mhm.
did not know everything, and I think I can't help but if I was a punk rocker listening to Against Me or even just
Yeah.
alternative music and even wasn't a fan of Against Me, but seeing Laura Jane Grace be so open about whether it was the struggles or the country, how, it treated her or just, uh,
Mhm.
anybody, and I think it just really and, going through dealing with, a partner and being a parent and going through
Yeah,
that and
exactly, yeah.
so many things. And again, Laura, if there's any shot because I have shot you a DM
Yeah.
on Instagram because just because
She's so important.
yeah.
She's so important. Like, I
Yes.
just oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Like, and I think it's important to note too, like you said, you didn't know much about,
No.
like, transgender before then, and I think that was a lot of people's story even, like, especially for, like, the alternative kids, like,
Yeah, no.
I think she was, like, the first introduction to so many, and it's like, there is a learning curve, and it's all in how you take in new information,
Hmm.
and I think that's important to know. Like, not everybody's gonna know everything if you are not exposed to it to understand it. And it all depends on how you come about it. If you're coming at it from an angry disposition, um, with great opposition already, then obviously you're going to continue that path. But if you are truly trying to understand people and their experience more, if everybody in the community can tell who that is and who is genuinely trying to better understand and to you know,
Yeah.
better understand somebody's experience, and somebody who's asking just to poke fun at you. Um, so again, like, there is a learning curve to it, and it all depends on how you take the information and how you go about the information and grow from it or stand still. And right now in this country, we need more people that are willing to move forward and understand experiences that are not their own and grow from it. And I hope and really hope, with everything going on in the world and everything, like, that Laura Jean Grace's message keeps going forward and helping more and more people because she is a very important person.
Oh, and I saw that when I saw that tour that I saw after the record Transgender Dysphoria Blues. I'm like trying not to mess that up.
No,
I'm
I know.
like, wait a second to say
It's a
slowly.
it's a
Um
big one.
but when that record and that touring cycle and I saw the different people that were there.
Yeah,
And I saw people that were eh, just like enamored with her and just I
yeah,
were waiting outside just to like get a picture with her and express that what she's done for them. And I think again that just speaks to the importance of music and mental health and how whether it was Jimmy Eat World or AFI or Saves the Day or Against Me, Laura Jean Grace, like I think that just really speaks to it. And I think that's what's just so incredible and amazing about it. And again, I saw that firsthand, how important that oh my god, representation. I'm like, I can't think of the name,
yeah,
but having that representation there and like that was. So I think, yeah, no, I again, so important and just I'm just so glad you brought them up because they're a band
yeah.
I've always thought that. And like I said, I've had many people in my life that were like, ah, they used to be so punk and good. I'm like, no, they got
It's
like
like,
so
if
good. You
anything,
slept
they're
on
more
them.
punk. They're more punk. You just don't understand
Hmm.
the true meaning of punk. That's
I
going against the grain.
look,
So,
yeah, like you see
and
their
being who you
solo.
are.
See
Mhm.
Laura solo. She is still 100% who she's always been. And
Yeah.
I've loved seeing her solo shows too. Like so fantastic if you ever get a shot either to see Laura Jane Grey solo. It's such a good time too. So just oh, so so good. And I'm like, oh, again, I'm so glad you brought them up because
I
I
know.
don't
I'm
I don't
like every once in a while they popped in my head for things, and I was just nothing felt right, and this
right.
one
Yeah.
felt right.
Oh, I'm
So
so glad. And again, not shout out to any partner in your life that tries to throw your CDs out or say that they suck.
yeah,
You like who you like, and
yeah,
they're just not the
don't
right people for you. And
100%.
just letting
Never
everyone
back
know that.
down.
Yes,
Never
always be
back down from
you.
what you love, because
Yes,
not
yes.
only, I mean, I've experienced that quite a bit of times, with a past partner. Never back down. Love who
No.
you love. Don't be
Yes.
ashamed.
Yep.
Even if people don't agree with you, and
Yes.
and they try to make you seem embarrassed, like, what's more embarrassing than having to put people down to feel better? So,
Mhm. 100% because as I'm so let's I like this topic of this when G was telling me, it's so true because like some people be like, oh, they're old, like older stuff. Any of these bands we talked about, oh, that's better.
yeah.
No, no, no. You like what you like, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. But I can't. This was so much fun, and I just again, everybody, like, thank you for listening to this, and I feel like we could just go on talking about any of these bands, and we have a lot of great things coming back and forth, like ideas and episodes that like Justine and I are working on, and we already have like the next couple weeks spanned out. We're like, okay, this one, this one, this one. So like we have to say like there's some really cool stuff coming up, and we can't wait to have that. And remember too, you can check out our Instagram page at stereo dot therapy or stereo period therapy, however you want to say it or spin it. Because I noticed Justine in your solo when you said period, I was like, oh, maybe that's
Oh,
better than
did I
like
do
dot. No, no, no.
that?
But I was like, that's even better than like saying dot. Maybe that's why people haven't found us. And I'm saying dot, and they're like, what? So either one you prefer, there you go. And give us a follow because we do a lot of cool stuff over there. And yeah, we will see you guys next Tuesday, bright and early as always. Bye, guys.
Bye.